This should be one of the most obvious things that every Catholic does when they're dating or looking to date, but so many people miss it. And I'm not throwing stones at anybody because this is a mistake that I, myself, made, and I want to save you from making the same mistake. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to be doing if you are dating as a Catholic or trying to date. What this is going to do is it's going to speed up the dating process, eliminate a lot of heartbreak and a lot of pain before it even happens, so that you can find the man or the woman of your dreams and you can start your life together. This advice is going to apply to men and to women. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are, but if you start this today, I guarantee it's going to pay off dividends in your marriage. But before I tell you exactly what you need to be doing, let me lay out a little bit of theology here so you can understand why you're doing this thing. This is not soulmate theology. This is not me trying to say that the stars have aligned and your perfect spouse is going to drop out of the heavens. This is just a recognition of God's providence working in our everyday lives. So there's nothing wrong with having a desire for a spouse and a desire for your spouse to have certain characteristics. That's not vain or vapid. That's just being a normal human being. So let me tell you a story. My wife knew that she wanted to get married since she was about 5 years old. While I was off playing basketball and playing baseball and not thinking about my future spouse at all, my wife had already started to pray for me. And over the years, God just put it on her heart to pray for her future spouse. So she would pray and pray and pray and pray. And one of the things that she prayed for was that her future spouse would have an excellent relationship with his mother. And lo and behold, I have a fantastic relationship with my mom. Shout out, Mom, if you're watching this video. And that's not all, it gets better. My wife would pray this book that was dedicated to praying for your future spouse, and there were 30 days in the book. Unfortunately, my wife was never actually able to complete the book, but she would constantly restart from chapter 1, pray for a week, get 7 days out of 30 done, and then forget. And then she'd start over and do 7 days out of 30, and then forget. But the beginning of the book was entirely dedicated to praying for your future spouse to have the virtue of wisdom. And I do not claim to be wise. However, I do love wisdom and appreciate it where it can be found. And I was also a theology teacher, and now that's what I do on YouTube as well. There were other random little quirky things that my wife also prayed for, and God answered her prayers. But the point of this is, God already knew who Jessica, my wife, was going to marry. And so God used her prayers to shape me into the man that she wanted me to be before we'd even met. God in his providence knows who you're going to marry. And God in his providence is already shaping that person, their heart, their dispositions, their temperament, shaping all of that so that the two of you can be compatible in the sacrament of marriage and have a beautiful relationship. So yes, God is doing all of that. However, it may be the case that God is only going to shape your spouse's heart in a way that's compatible with you if you're praying for your future spouse. So this is the advice that every single Catholic out there who's aspiring to be married needs to follow and needs to start doing today. Pray for your future spouse. Offer sacrifices for your future spouse. If you have a longing to be married and it aches on your heart and you just want it so bad, take that hurt and offer it up to Jesus, and offer it up to Jesus for your future spouse. That'll take that hurt that you're feeling and it will give it purpose, and it will make your cross much, much lighter. That's what my wife had to do a couple times. She wanted to be married so badly as a young woman, and she just hadn't met the right guy. And so a couple times she had to go into a church before the Blessed Sacrament and just pour out her heart before God and say, God, I want to be married, but I want what you want more than anything else. That's what allowed her to be ready to marry me. And the merit of those prayers is what shaped me to a certain degree to be ready to be a good and faithful husband for her. So listen, men, women, whoever's watching this video, if you're single, I think you need to hear this. Start praying fervently and daily for your future spouse. Another thing that's going to do is when you start dating somebody, there's an added element of holy excitement and anticipation, thinking, is this the person who I've been praying for years or for months? Is this the person who I've been praying for and they don't even know it yet? It's exciting. So what prayer should you pray for your future spouse? There is one prayer that is more powerful than all the rest that every single person who wants to find a spouse should be praying and praying daily. And if you've watched any of my other content, you know exactly what it is. It is the Holy Rosary of the Blessed Virgin Mary. That prayer is a nuclear bomb. It is a spiritual weapon that's going to cut down demons and going to show you the path that you need to walk. Mary promises signal graces to any who are faithful to her rosary and pray it daily. So God is going to take the prayers that you're praying. He's going to take the rosaries that you're praying. He's going to shape your future spouse, tailor them, hand make them for you so that your marriage is successful and beautiful and good. And Mary is going to give you signal graces so that whenever Mr. Right or Mrs. Right comes along, you can see it and see it clearly, and your discernment process can be very, very quick. This is why my wife and I only dated for 6 weeks before we got engaged. God made it abundantly clear that this beautiful young woman who I was dating was the one and the only one for me. If you want to join me and a group of other young men in praying the rosary daily and praying for future spouses, then check out the link in the description. And if you want to see some practical advice I have for how to find a good Catholic spouse, then check out this video.